Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're looking at the Palmetto State Armory ARV, which basically is a 9mm PCC or pistol caliber carbine, which is developed for self-defense. And this particular one set up as a pistol. As you can see, we have the SB Tactical pistol brace on here. Now, what makes this different from any other AR PCC? The magazine. This magazine takes CZ Scorpion magazines instead of these typical Glock magazines. And why is that beneficial? Well, I can tell you from having shot a vast amount of 9mm PCCs utilizing Glock magazines, they're reliable, but the bolts don't lock back for shit. The bolt catches on those because of the variations in magazines, and it's not because of poor quality magazines. These are factory Glock magazines. It's not nearly as reliable for as far as locking back on the last rounds. Thing about the CZ Scorpion magazines, they're designed to have a bolt lock, and it's designed for a PCC or a submachine gun instead of a pistol. So you do have that durability and that reliability that is there. Now the magazine that it comes with is manufactured, I believe it's by U.S. Palm 4, Palmetto State Armory. It's an excellent 35 shot magazine. Now during testing, because it's a CZ magazine, we shot several. We have the Elite Tactical Systems, standard CZ 30-round magazines. We have the older CZ 30-round magazines, and then we have the Manticore magazines. So we had tested all of these with this gun, literally with no problems whatsoever. So let's go over the gun. Again, we have the pistol brace, which is a 4-position. Now looking at the lower receiver, you'll see the Magpul Mo. These are billets, 70-75 aircraft grade aluminum. And then we look at the upper receiver. See, it's a slick slide. Obviously, it's a blowback, so there's no need for a forward assist. We have a standard mil-spec type charging handle. And we have a 5-inch lightweight handguard on here, which is Palmetto State Armory as well. Now, you only have 2 M-lock slots on here. We have the Manta rail protectors on here. We do have a code for Manta. It's BAR20. It gives you 20% off of everything on their website. And the barrel we have here is a 4-inch 4150 chromoly vanadium barrel. This is all nitride coated, and it has a standard mil-spec flash suppressor on here. Well, this is an A2 compensator, 9mm. Looking on the left-hand side, you'll see your bolt catch. Your bolt catch works a little bit different than the standard AR-15. When you pull back, that pushes upward. And then when you want to engage, push down. So when you have your magazine in there, locks back. To drop out your magazine, it's a front latch. Drop out. Then to close your bolt, push downward, and it engages. Standard mil-spec type safety. The trigger is a nickel boron coated PSA trigger, so it gives you a little bit smoother of a pull. As you can see, the upper receiver on here, this is specifically designed for a 9mm. We're going to open it up and take a look at the inside. You can see your feed ramp on the lower receiver, your ejector, and you can see your bolt catch, which is right here. You can see the bolt catch going up and down. Very reliable catch, as you can see once that's inserted. It engages it. Now these magazines don't necessarily all drop free. Some of them do, some of them don't. Now looking at the trigger, we do have nickel boron coated. Now the trigger, something else I do want to talk about as well. We talked in a previous video about an enhancement that I had done to my Colt PCC. We're going to see a picture of the hammer that I had developed along with Monty Leclerc over at Centurion. Basically what you're doing is you're taking out this back tail here. What that back tail does is we can even see on here very easily where, because of the high rate of fire of the 9mm, the way it knocks the hammer back, you can see where the back of the hammer catches the back of the disconnector. And what that does is it wears the disconnector, and it also gives you trigger slap on your finger. So what that does is that eliminates all that trigger slap, and it eliminates that contact, and much better feel on that trigger. So I'd recommend you guys go over to Centurion Arms, take a look at the enhanced pistol PCC hammer. I believe it's around $35, and that will basically cure that. I would recommend that for any PCC to save the life of the hammer, and also to save the the wear and tear on your finger from the trigger slap. Now taking a look at their buffer, I want to show you something as well. You drop the buffer in without the spring. and push the bolt in, and we're going to pull that back. Now we're going to see, when you see the bolt catch on here, that there's a significant amount of travel between the bolt carrier to when it strikes the bolt catch. I would certainly recommend getting a longer bolt, which you can see on many different companies who manufacture longer bolts, because what that will do is that will reduce the amount of travel and the amount of acceleration that will get before it strikes and hits that catch. Because of the way that this is a little bit different from the Colt PCC, so even the ones that you have are not going to give you the full. You're going to get the full benefit of the longer buffer as you will with the Colt pattern, but you will still get this vastly closer to have less wear on that catch. So that's one upgrade that I would consider on with this PCC is that we found that at Colt. Another thing that will happen is too, as you see when this goes back, you'll also see that your trigger compartment is open. Well, we had experiences with the Colt where that cartridge could drop back into this compartment in here and it would jam the gun up. When you get that longer buffer, that's going to at least cover that up so that cartridge case can't get back there. So these are a couple things that I would do to improve the carbine, is the hammer and the longer buffer. Now, I will say when we shot this thing, we had no reliability issues whatsoever. The thing shot very well. But overall, this is certainly made up very well. We can't complain about any of the machining at all. People do associate too often quality and price at the same time. When it comes to Palmetto State Armory, when we look at their ARs, all the ARs that I've seen come out of them there's been absolutely nothing wrong with them. The price is excellent, and there's been the quality has been decent. I can't fault them in anything. We've had a little bit of issues with their AKs, and as far as the PCC is concerned, these things work flawlessly. The only thing I wasn't able to do was to fire this one suppressed, just due to the fact that I didn't have any ammunition at the time to fire suppressed. There's no point in firing a subsonic or supersonic with a can. But I have no issue with it. This thing would have worked fine suppressed. Now, looking at their bolt carrier, this is a specific bolt carrier for this magazine. So you're not going to drop in any magazine. This is specifically states ARV on there. You do have your pivoting extractor on there as well, which is a lot better than the original Colt pattern where you have basically a 1911 type spring extractor. This is more of an M16 type extractor, which gets a better hold of it. And again, it's all special cut on here for use with this magazine. So looking at all the PCCs that you have today, you can get them set up for any kind of magazine that you want. Anything from Glock magazines, Beretta, SIG magazines, P3, the P320, MP5, Colt pattern, and then of course now even the Scorpion magazines. So why would you choose one over the other? Well, if you don't have a Glock pistol, anything goes. The only benefit to having a Glock pattern PCC that has the Glock magazines, if you have a Glock, so you can interchange your magazines from your pistol with your PCC. If you don't, there are better options out there. This one here, this is one of the first PCCs I've seen that takes the CZ type magazine. However, if you look at other ones that take the Beretta magazines and the P320 magazines, those are better than the Glock pattern ones in these carbines because they lock back due to the fact that the way the magazines are. That's just a thing with Glock magazines. You'll see a lot of 9mm PCCs that take Glock magazines that don't even have bolt catches on them because a lot of the manufacturers says if we can't get it to work 100% of the time, we're not going to do it. So that's really where these shine, is that they lock back on the last round. Magazines are very inexpensive for the CZ75. They work. And just recently, Magpul came out with a D50, which you saw that we shot in the videos. This worked 100% in this PCC. I shot it twice, so that's 100 rounds. We did for testing this thing just with this magazine alone. Function 100%, locked back in the last, which is everything that we could hope for. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take us to the range. We're going to see how it shoots. As we saw from the shooting, 100% reliable. And we also saw that using the D50 here, that we were able to get them all on target. Rapid fire, shot very, very well. The optic I chose on here was a Trijicon MRO. Now again, relatively inexpensive gun. Its quality is excellent. It's different, but having taken the CZ magazines, the CZ magazines are proven, they're reliable. So it's certainly a good option for any of you guys out there who don't have a Glock, but you want a good PCC. You want a magazine that's reliable, it's easy to load, they're plentiful and reliable. Now we did try to fire this one suppressed. Now there was a little bit of an issue with suppressed. With the ammunition that we had for it was 147 grain ammunition from Remington, which was more of a truncated type shape, and it did not like feeding. So no matter how hard we tried with that particular round, we could not get it to feed. So we didn't really have a lot of success with the suppressor. I would recommend that if you are going to suppress this, you try to find some of the round nose ammunition, like the 124 grain American Eagle suppressor ammunition, or you go with like the SIG 147, which is also a rounder profile. Unfortunately, I didn't have any of that at the time. I only had the Remington. So we didn't have a lot of success with the suppressor just because it didn't like that specific round that I had. So we do hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.